Folks, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Tipped Off. As usual, I'm your host, Luke Dunlap, and sitting in the back of me is a bunch of chaos because, sorry, I haven't been uploading for a few weeks, or say like a week or so, but I've been moving, so we are here in the new crib. As you can see, I've got a fan behind me. I actually don't have a ceiling fan because the model of this apartment is a little weird. It's really nice, but it's really weird in terms of that. So we got myself a little fan, and it hits my head just right because I love when it's cold. Like, I love sleeping in the cold. I cannot sleep in heat. My dad loves the heat, which is crazy. Like, he'll sleep in 81 degree like rooms. But like me, I like it 67, 68, maybe 70. Excuse me. But I like it like that. But regardless, we get a lot to talk about, and I don't think air is one of them. Just no, yeah, we're moving, so having fun doing all that. But let's get into NBA free agency. So I want to start off talking about the John Collins trade. I really like it in terms of what happens for both teams. I don't really want to talk about what the Jazz get. They just get like Kevin Love and I think Kyle Anderson, good old slow-mo. But I really like how this works for the Jazz, specifically because I like how now they can play Chris Dunn at the 1, James Harden at the 2, where he's been playing his entire career until he got to, I believe it was Brooklyn. And then, or no, was it Philadelphia? It was one of the two. But regardless, like with James Harden at the 2, Kawhi Leonard at the 3, and then of course you've got John Collins at the 4 and Zubac at the 5. Off the bench, you've got Brook Lopez, Derrick Jones Jr., a really complete team. And I'm going to get into that because later on I am ranking every team based on their offseason and how they will do next season, I believe, or like in my opinion. But yeah, I really like that trade. And the Miami Heat become sleepers now because they get a guy like Norman Powell, which this does weaken their defense a little bit because now they just have two really offensive like guards in Tyler Hero and Norman Powell, and not enough defense. But they do have a guy like Andrew Wiggins. They've got Bam Adebayo. They've got some good bench pieces that can get up there and play defense. If Khalil Ware develops, like it'll be fun for that. But that'll be a fun team to watch. Both teams will be fun to watch. But I think the Clippers have a higher ceiling. So, yeah, it's been, I think, what's going to be known as a Clippers, like, masterclass this season. I don't think they'll be a championship winner or even a contender, but they will play really well, maybe even a second-round exit, but I think it'll be fun. They might make the conference finals and surprise everybody. This team is slept on, but I'll get into that later in the episode. But my real concern here is restricted free agency. Let's move on to that. Restricted free agency is going on. Basically, no one's done anything. Quentin Grimes is still sitting there. Josh Giddey is still sitting there. But what's more important for me is Jonathan Kuminga. And I've heard rumors that he's planning to re-sign with the Warriors with intention to be traded at the deadline. I hate this. I love Jonathan Kuminga. Don't get me wrong. Love the guy. He's done a lot for us. He's a really athletic man. I wish we could give him, like, some spotlight. I wish we could play him. But at the end of the day, whenever we do play him, he just doesn't fit into the rotation. Especially does not fit with Jimmy Butler. And I think he would shine in another place. My place of choice would be Chicago, bring in Vucevic, have that 5-man, and you can sign Al Horford, a veteran, bring him off the bench at backup power forward so that way Quentin Post can play center, have a stretch big in Quentin Post who can be trained by another stretch big in Nikola Vucevic who also has that post presence, and Al Horford can work in the post as well as a backup and make way for that, like, loss of Kevon Looney. I really like how that dynamic would fit. But I'm probably wishful thinking. That never happens. Knowing realistically we might get like Herb Jones if we're lucky, which Herb Jones is great. But for Jonathan Kuminga, we need a lot more, I'd say. I think he's valued. I think he might make an all-star appearance in his career sometime. But he'll be really good. I think the Sixers, if they bring back Quentin Grimes, will be good. Josh Giddey is kind of like roaming around purgatory right now because the Bulls don't really want to give him his desired money. I think it's like $58 million. No, it's not. It's a lot more. I think it's like in the 70s, $70 million. It's like a 3-year deal that he wants. Bulls ain't willing to give it to him, I don't think. They just traded away Lonzo Ball, though, so they might bring him back to have that point guard action coming in because they did get, I believe it was Isaac Okoro to come off as the small forward. So I like that for them, but they just are missing that guard spot, and I think that can be filled with, I don't know. Noah Essingay is a power forward, yeah. But like I just think they've got a lot of forwards. Modest Buzelis. Of course, now they just drafted what's his face. I just said his name, man. Um, Noah Essengay. But I just think it's just going to be weird without a guard. So I think you do bring back Josh Giddey. But these restricted free agents, it's just so much. It's hell for them right now because they're just sitting there waiting for a contract, but these teams aren't willing to give it to them because the aprons and all this. They just don't know where to go. Do they get traded? Like being a restricted free agent looks like no fun. Probably the worst part of the NBA if I had to guess. But it is just, or being just free agent in general, or being waived like Damian Lillard. Like seriously, getting into that real quick. Well, actually no, I'm gonna save that for later whenever we talk about the Bucks. But the restricted free agency period is very weird. I don't know how people do it. It would kill my mental health. But they're troopers, and it's going to suck. And it even sucks more with the new CBA. I think it was 2023 when it was put in, that the whole second apron, these teams just can't sign these guys. And if they want to bring in others, like, you just can't. But I like these. I like the idea of bringing everyone back. But Kuminga, I really want to get him out before the deadline because the Warriors had a really bad opening season. Like they started out 13-2. Whoa. But then they sucked in the midseason. Buddy Hield just fell off until the postseason and did absolutely nothing until that Game 7 against Houston where he saved us. But this team, until they got Jimmy, was terrible. And then after the deadline, they played really good. They were, I believe, 27, was it 24-6, I want to say, going into the playoffs. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter because they were a 7 seed and they had to climb all that way. And Curry got injured. I seriously think they had a chance at making the finals had Curry not gone down. They could have taken down OKC. Like I said, in the regular season, they went 3-1 with, I believe, only one game Chet Holmgren set out from his injury. But I think they could have taken him down. The youth versus experience and all that, but that's that's like another what if situation, and that gets overshined by what if Halliburton didn't get injured. So I'm not going to talk about it that much. Anyway, I'm going to get into the next topic that I have, which kind of connects into free agency. The Celtics basically sacrificing their soul for money. Excuse me. Basically, they want money, they want cap space, but they just gave up everything. Like they gave up Porzingis for basically a Sprite and a pack of Cracker Jacks. Absolutely nothing. And I just don't think going forward, like, it makes no sense. And then on top of that, they traded away Drew Holiday for Anthony Simons. I like that, but you don't have a big now. You let Luke Cornett walk. It's just kind of a sticky situation, which is really weird because Brad Stevens is known to be a really good GM, making really good moves. They're about to lose Al Horford as well. Forgot about that. Second time this episode, I forgot about Al Horford because I actually recorded this episode prematurely and forgot to input my microphone. So here I am at midnight recording this. Just watched some Summer League. Failed to record this. Was not very happy with myself because I put it in my editing software and no audio was picked up. So I was like, great, what's happening here? And now we're just recording one more time because why not? I need to get this episode out to y'all. I love y'all, man. But it's just a matter of picking up decent guys, and they just failed to do that. Brad Stevens has failed to do that. He's traded away everybody. He's gotten in return, like, nothing, like Terrence Mann and Anthony Simons. But, like, for Drew Holiday and what's his face? Kristaps Porzingis, not good enough. I mean, your lineup looks good starting-wise. I mean, you've got Derek White. You've got Jaylen Brown still. You've still got, I mean, you bring in Anthony Simons. You still got Peyton Pritchard, 6th man of the year. But it's just, I don't think they get the job done. I think they make the play-in. I think they're a play-in first, like, play-in exit. They lose in the play-in. That's where I'm putting them. But I just don't think they do anything special. Now, I want to go into the winners and losers of free agency next. I've got for the winners, I've got 4 teams. Rockets, Hawks, Magic, Nuggets. I'm going to cover them in a weird order. I'm going to start with the Magic because I forgot them in my first recording. So I think the Magic did great. They picked up Desmond Bane. They kept a lot of guys. They kept Jalen Suggs. They kept Franz Wagner. They managed to keep like Wendell Carter Jr., Anthony Black. They've got an amazing deep roster. The issue is youth and experience. But I think they can legitimately contend. But I just don't think, I don't know. I see them, I'm not going to be surprised if they come out of the East. It'll be really fun to watch. But especially that dynamic between Desmond Bain and Paolo Banchero. That will be really intriguing. I'm really excited to see that. But ultimately, I don't see a flaw. Actually, there is no but ultimately because they just did good. And the next team I'm going to cover is Denver, bringing back Bruce Brown, trading for Cam Johnson, who's going to be really good on, like, say, I really like his fit in Denver specifically because he brings defense, which Michael Porter Jr. did not. He brings, like, pick and roll capability at, like, high pick and roll capability at, like, say, a little bit past top of the key, like Curry range, like that pick and pop and pick and roll just opens up a lot, especially for guys like Jokic down low. You get a distraction, draw the defender, boom. You've got a guy like, say, now you've signed Bruce Brown, kick it out to him. You've still got Jamal Murray at the point. You've still got a guy like Christian Brown to kick it out to for a shot. Like they're finally surrounding Jokic with shooters, and that's what he needs to contend. You've got Tim Hardaway Jr. Kick it out to him. He's got a shot. But yeah, Nuggets seems really good. And then the Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks went from, in 3 hours, went from an average 10 seed to a championship contender. You know, they bring in Luke Kennard. They bring in Karis LeVert. They trade for Kristaps Porzingis. They get Nickeil Alexander-Walker. On top of this, you've still got Trae Young. You've still got Zachary Rissache, who's going to probably take a major step forward going into the next season. This Hawks team is lethal. Sure, you gave up Clint Capella. Okay. Who cares? Clint Capella played like garbage. You're fine. The Hawks are great. I'm scared of them. And not to mention, you give up Clint Capella and get in exchange Kristaps Porzingis to fill that spot. It's great. It's great for him. Like, I can just see it. You've got, at point guard, Trae Young. Shooting guard. You've got, I guess, Luke Kennard. Small forward. You've got your good old man, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Power forward, Zachary Rissache. Porzingis at the center. Lethal, you know? And they've got the bench to back it up. Crazy. It's going to be a good... I will love watching Atlanta Hawks basketball, which is something I haven't said in a hot minute since, like, 2021. That's been 4 years. And before that, who really cared about the Hawks, you know? Before Trae Young got there, I mean, you know, you've got your, man, I'm trying to remember. Who was the star player back then? You've got Kyle Korver. Hey, I love me some Kyle Korver, though. He's one of my favorite role players of all time. But Kyle Korver, like, it's just didn't work. But this Hawks team is fun. And then the Rockets, you know, you had this team that was all this talent, all this skill, but they didn't have the teamwork, they didn't have the experience, they didn't have the veteran leadership. Boom, Kevin Durant. Now they're contenders. Now they can win a title. Now they can go in and now they can take what they deserve, you know? A champion, or maybe not deserve, but they can earn a championship. You know, you've got a guy. They managed to keep Şengün, Amin Thompson. They managed to keep Fred VanVleet. You've just got an amazing roster now. Like, you've got point guard. You got, of course, Fred VanVleet. Shooting guard. You've got, I think it was, did they put Reed Shepherd? No, I'm missing somebody at shooting guard. Amin Thompson, that's right. Amin Thompson at shooting guard. At small forward, you've got, I believe it was Kevin Durant. Power forward, Tari Eason, I want to say, was it? And center, Şengün. Amazing. Lethal lineup. Then on top of that, you've got the bench. You've got Steven Adams bringing Clint Capella back. He's used to Houston. He's back. You have a guy like... Who did they sign? I forget. They've got a laundry list. Like, they traded Cam Whitmore for 2 seconds because they ran out of players to put on their roster. Like, that's how deep they are. It'll be amazing to watch. But the losers. Here we go. Golden State, obviously, they didn't do jack. They have not done anything. They let Kevon Looney walk, my third favorite player in the NBA other than Curry and Clay, who I literally grew up watching my entire life. Kevon Looney, my third favorite player, gone. I miss him already. He's on New Orleans. I hope he shines, but I'm going to miss him in Golden State. I mean, much love, but man, it sucks that Mike Dunleavy just ignored you. Didn't do anything, you know? Which, granted, Would have been fine if he replaced you, actually signed people, actually did a sign and trade for Vooch, like pick up Al Horford for once, like we're not doing anything. The only thing we've done on paper is the draft night trade where we got 2 seconds instead of 1. Our only thing is Alex Tuohy. That is the only thing we have on the sheets from free agency is Alex freaking Tuohy. Loser. Second, obviously the Celtics. I had a whole section on that. But going next, I've got the restricted free agents. Like I said earlier, they're in hell, purgatory, whatever you want to call it. They are suffering down there. They don't know what they're going to do. They don't know if they're going to get traded. They don't know if they're going to get the contract they want. They don't know where they're going to end up. Mentally, physically, and location-wise. It's just not good, And the Bucks. They waive Damian Lillard. They pick up Miles Turner, which Miles Turner is objectively worse than Damian Lillard, but you weren't going to have Damian Lillard the next season. So it's just a matter of Miles Turner, can he pick up the pace that Damian Lillard had? And they're going to have a great front court, but the issue is their backcourt. They lost Pat Connaughton in free agency. I forget I think he went to Memphis, but they just have a lack of guard play. They've got Kevin Porter Jr. Like, okay, cool. That's no Damian Lillard. It's just not going to work out. And Giannis, I don't know how he's staying. We'd love him in the Bay. San Antonio would love him. Miami would love him. But he chooses to stay. I got to honor that, I really do. I got to honor that. But my thing is, this Bucks team just gave up everything for 1 year of going all in, and probably the worst year to go all in, considering you've got 3 teams in the West that are pretty much locks for championship contenders. One of the 3, whoever comes out of the West is cooking whoever comes out of the East. The Knicks come out, they're getting swept by OKC. The Rockets, gentleman sweep. Nuggets, take them in 6, Say the Magic get out, they're getting swept by all 3 of those teams. You look at the Hawks, they come in, they're not experienced enough. Boom. OKC, probably in 6. The Rockets, depending on the matchups, with the matchups, I'd say probably 5. With the Nuggets, I'd say a sweep, just all on the matchup. You look at the Cavs. The Cavs have been there, maybe not the finals, but they're experienced enough. They come in. It's probably going to be the closest one they have. I think I could see them taking Denver to a Game 7, but that's it. That's it. The East is cooked. The East is cooked. But the thing is, they're going all in to be a championship winner this season, which makes no sense. Dude. Rebuild. Maybe not rebuild, but take a year in between to figure out what's going on before you blow everything up or before you go all in. Because when you go all in this season, you can kiss your money goodbye. You lost it all. You gambled on a bad spot. You had 17 in your blackjack deck and you hit. You had 19. Actually, no. Yeah, you had 20 and you hit. You bet on the ace. You bet for the ace. Really? Why not just stay at 20? Ride it out, That may have been a bad analogy, considering, the 20 can't get better over time and go to a 21. But it's just not the time. The whole thing is timing. The Miles Turner pickup is amazing. Picking him up for that deal, amazing. On paper, you've got a generational, maybe not a generational, but you've got a really solid center. The issue is the timing. Do this next season. Do this in 2 seasons. You're waiving Damian Lillard. And you've still got him on your payroll. You've still got to pay him $23 million every season. So you're still suffering under the salary cap laws, I don't know if they're in the second. I don't think they're in the second apron. I think they're still in the first. But still, that $23 million could be used elsewhere. That $23 million could be used. I'd say if you don't sign Miles Turner, sure, you bring back Brook Lopez, you sign a Gary Payton the second, because people are saying he's not coming back to Golden State. I wish he would, but if he's not, the Bucks could use him. They need backup guard play, backup forward, small forward play. You could pick up, say, Karis LeVert. You had $23 million can do a lot in modern day NBA. I'd say a lot, get you a mid-level player. Get mid-level role player, And the Bucks needed that. But they just gave it up. Why? Because Damian Lillard was injured for a season. The season where the West is going to win no matter what. Make it make sense. And that's enough of that, because I could go on for ages about that. But I want to talk about the sleeper teams. I've got 3 sleeper teams. I already talked about the Clippers, with how complete of a team they are, how experienced Kawhi Leonard is, James Harden, if he doesn't choke in a game 7. If they don't get to a game 7, they're fine, But if they get to a game 7, Harden's disappearing faster than, I don't know. I don't want to make a comparison. But the Clippers are legitimate contenders. Maybe not as much as OKC, Denver, and Houston, but they are on that list. I wouldn't be surprised if they came out of the West, similar to the Magic, or the Mavericks. I think the Mavericks are too. They're a sleeper team. I need to put them on there. But yeah, the Clippers are solid. They've got a deep team. They've got a deep and complete team. They've got young. They've got old. They've got veterans. They've got experienced players, inexperienced players. They've just got everything they need. It's just some other teams have that formula, but better. They've just got better players, like OKC. But with the next team, obviously, I foreshadowed it, the Mavericks. This one was on the fly. I've got 3 teams in my notes, but this is actually a 4th team. The Mavericks picked up Cooper Flag, obviously. You still got Kyrie Irving, who's coming back, but you got D'Angelo Russell as a backup whenever he comes back, and as a starter for whenever whenever Kyrie's out. You've got Klay Thompson still. You've got, of course, Anthony Davis, and then you've got Derek Lively. And you've got a solid bench. An okay bench. But it can work. It can work. I think they sneak into a 7 or 6 seed, and they push all the way to, and they could maybe make the conference finals, because as we saw this season, and I think it'll continue in next season, seeding doesn't matter. Seeding doesn't matter at all. An 8 seed could win, a 1 seed could win, a 4 seed, 5 seed, you name it. They could win. This West is so competitive. And then my next team is the Pelicans. Yeah. Old New Orleans. First off, I'm going to start with their draft. Was really good. Jeremiah Fears, Derek Queen, huge pickups. I like Jeremiah Fears a lot better. Granted, I did just get done watching his Summer League game against the Lakers, which I could go into a section on Summer League if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. I'm really bad at watching Summer League. It's a bad habit of mine. I always have something going on. Like this time it was the move. Last year it was a vacation, all this fun stuff. But I didn't get into Summer League. I need to tune in. I did see Cooper Flag at 31, but I did watch this one. And Jeremiah Fears had a dud, but Derek Queen is looking really promising, and Jeremiah Fears is still really good. I think I like that. But even if you've still got Jordan Poole. You've still picked up Kevon Looney, a great backup big. You've still got Zion Williamson coming back from an injury. You've still got DeJounte Murray. And on top of this, it's just player after player after player. And Derek Queen and Zion in the front court is going to be amazing. You've got DeJounte Murray and Jordan Poole. You've got Jeremiah Fears. You've still got Trey Murphy III. On top of that, you've got Herb Jones, arguably the best defending small forward defender, in terms of small forwards in the league. This team is going to be really good. Really good. But in the West, everyone is. Other than, the bottom 5 teams. Top 10 teams in the NBA are amazing. Or in the West are amazing. Bottom 5, yeah, not so much. But you get what I'm saying. And the final team, the Miami Heat. I think they can make a second-round push. They've got a really deep roster. It's just their starters are weak. I say weak, but, they don't have that guy. Bam Adebayo is their guy, which he's not a strong guy. He's a strong player, but he's not a go-to number 1 option, They've got the weakness on the defense in terms of guard play. You've got all sorts of, Andrew Wiggins picking up the defense, of course, but you've got, Khalil Ware, good backup option, Davion Mitchell. You've got a decent group of guys. I think you guys could do something, but it's just, I don't think it's in the cards. I don't think it's in the cards for y'all to make a conference finals push. But a second round exit might be realistic. So that's going to be my 4 teams. I'm going to switch this over. I made this list in the last episode as I went on, but this is my list. I can change things around looking back, but I do think these teams are going to be, this is how things are going to work. I'm going to go from the bottom to the top. I've got 2 teams in the suffering tier, so I should just describe the tiers first. Suffering, bottom of the barrel, bottom 2 teams, they're just not going to be good. They'll fight for a number 1 pick. Purgatory, you're not fighting for a number 1 pick, but you're definitely not making the play-in. Play-in, you're getting out first round in the play-in. That's how I figured out this. The play-in teams are, these guys are 100% making the play-in, but they're pretty much going to lose and not make the first round. These guys are a mix of like first round exits as like a 6 seed or a 5 seed and the play-in winners. Second round, pretty self-explanatory. Second round exits. Conference finals is their like ceiling of conference finals, and super contender. They can do anything. So I'm going to start from the bottom. Brooklyn, I think, will be the worst team in the league, but everyone said that last year, and they did end up being like right here. But Brooklyn is going to be really solid in terms of sucking. You know, they're going to suck, and that's their job. You know, Michael Porter Jr. is going to do amazing. You know, he'll have like he'll average 24, 25 maybe, but it's going to be on a team that's not, he's not expected to win. So he'll thrive there. But I mean, like, Igor Dimon, you've got some good guys, you know, but it's just not going to be enough. Cam Thomas coming back. I think if they re-sign him, he's still a restricted free agent, I'm pretty sure. If they bring back Cam Thomas, they're going to be okay. But they're going to be the worst in the league, no doubt. And a good old Sacktown. You know, that beam is not getting lit this season, folks. Sabonis is y'all's only hope, and he's getting old. I say old. He's like 30, like 29, 30, 31, within that range. I don't know an exact number, but he's getting middle-aged. Not looking good. Zach LaVine's getting old. Just Keegan Murray, he's a light in the world of darkness on that team. Malik Monk, amazing, but just they need to put something together, and I don't think it's going to happen. Now, that could blow up in my face, because on paper, they do have a decent roster. But with how they've executed their season, the past 2 seasons, has been crap. So, they're going to go down in suffering for me. Now, bottom of purgatory, I've got the Jazz. You know, they've got promising guys. Like, you know, they've got Kyle Filipowski. They've got Lauri Markkanen. They've still got a good group of guys. They traded Sexton to the Hornets, which is kind of weird to me. But they do have a solid group of, like, young guys mixed with like Markkanen and all of them, you know. They gave up John Collins, but oh well. They bring in Kyle Anderson and I forget. But and Kevin Love, a good veteran. But yeah, they're going to be good. The Pacers, I think they'll be down here simply because Halliburton's gone and they let Turner walk. I think we are going to see rises in gameplay between Nembhard and Nesmith, but overall, they're not going to be good. I'm really looking forward to the season after to watch them. Assuming they fill their center spot, you could see them jump up to super contender in a matter of one season. Kind of like how the Warriors did whenever everyone got injured in 2019, and then 2020 they sucked. They had Alec Burks out there starting. They had what was his name, man? I always forget it when it comes time. You know, it was the 2020 point guard. I specifically remember they had a 68 overall on 2K. Like, 2K had this guy at a 60 overall. Oh, it's Patrick something. Oh, my gosh. I'm a casual, man. I'm a casual. How could I forget that year? Honestly, I probably suppressed it. But it was just really bad. But then they bounced back. Like I think the Pacers will do. Trailblazers, they've got promising prospects, you know. They've got Scoot Henderson. They've got their guy in Yang Hansen, who I love. I like watching him. They've got some guys, but just don't think it's going to work out. Trading Simons for Drew Holiday, that's a good pickup. But just, I don't know. I don't really know. They got rid of Ayton, so that's solid, you know. Ayton's gone. They can pick up somebody else if they want to. If they pick up somebody else, they're scheduled to change. But for now, they're just down here. I think Hansen switches things up for him. I hope so, but this year is not it. Wizards, they've got guys. Now, last season, I would have had them here. But they've picked up, I think Alex Sarr takes a leap. They picked up Trey Johnson, one of my favorite guards from this draft class, or just players in general from this draft class. They've got a lot of sleepers on their team. You know, they traded Jordan Poole, yes, but they get in return C.J. McCollum, a veteran, to help develop like a guy like Trey Johnson. And you definitely see a future now for Washington, whereas last season we didn't. Now going into the play-in, I've got the Celtics. You know, the injury of Jason Tatum, they've given up everybody. It's just kind of a blank room. They're going to be decent. I mean, they've got their 4 guys, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Jaylen Brown. You know, they've still got, who was I thinking of? There's a guy I'm thinking of. Derek White. Did I say him? Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, Jaylen Brown. yeah, a good group of guys. It's just not going to be enough. It's just not going to be enough. Going into Memphis, Memphis is just going to be. They gave up Desmond Bain for pennies on the dime. I mean, Cole Anthony, who they just waived, in fact, it's just not going to work. They'll be a play-in team because they've got Ja Morant, they've got Jaren Jackson Jr. They're still good. They're better than these teams. The Hornets, I think, push up and do some things. They got Liam McNeely, who I'm really high on in this draft. He's my sleeper pick. I love watching Liam McNeely. And he had an offseason at UConn, which is why he went so low, but I still think he went way too low. 29 is crazy for a guy that was projected to go in the lottery starting at the season. Yeah, I think McNeely will do good, but Concanipple is amazing. I think Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball, if they stay healthy, are going to be amazing. It's a good squad. Maybe not amazing for LaMelo, but they'll be good. I'm really excited, though. I loved watching Concanipple in college, and I want to see how he works with Charlotte. But Phoenix is what people would say, like, down here, but I think this team is solid. People sleep on Jalen Green. I get he's inconsistent. He's not as good as, like, other stars, but in a world of Phoenix, I think he can pick up the pace and take them to the play-in. You've got Kaman Malach, however you say it. I can't pronounce his name. That'll be a fun pick. I think they can work well with that. And then, of course, you've got Bradley Beal if they can flip him for some young assets. This Phoenix team revolving around Devin Booker for a semi-rebuild. They just need to build assets around Devin Booker, which they absolutely, I believe they could do. It's just a matter of if their GM is going to step up and do something about Beal. Because now Beal wants out. So what are we going to do about that? Then of course, we've got the Raptors, Bulls, Bucks, Pelicans, and Spurs. The Raptors, I think, finally push into this world of. I think they finally push into the playoffs. I think the Scotty Barnes era begins here. Their first round exit is like a 7 or 6 seed, but they make it to the playoffs and they finally get back to where they were. I think the Grady Dick bunch with like a guy like Brandon Ingram, you give them up with Scotty Barnes, Chris Boucher at the center. Like, it's a good team, but it's not gonna be good enough. But it'll be a start. You got to start somewhere, The Warriors were a 6 seed before they were a dynasty. Just saying, Then you got the Bulls. The Bulls, I think, will be very tricky. They trade Vucevic, they pretty much get here with Kuminga. Is they keep Vucevic and they re-sign Giddey and all of that. I think they can show up the rest of the East and end up, especially with the shaking up of the hierarchy with like the Magic and Hawks and the fall of the Celtics. I think the Bulls can do it as like a maybe 7 or 8 seed. Then the Bucks, I think, are like the top 6. Like, I think they're these two. I'll just say my play-in for the East is Bulls, Raptors, Hornets, Celtics. I think the Bulls and Raptors are superior. I think the Bucks pull it out as the 6th seed, and they get a first-round exit loss to somebody. The Pelicans out west, I think they take a 7 seed, lose, which is crazy because like out east they'd be like a 4 seed. But then you got the Spurs, who are the Spurs are the trickiest to rank here because they've got such a good roster, but they're so young. I think they take a 5 or 4 seed and get out in the first round to whoever that opposite team is. Then over here in the second round exit, like I said, sleeper pick in Miami. Nothing much needs to be said. I've already covered them. The Lakers, they picked up DeAndre Ayton, which people are treating amazing, which I want to go on a little rant for a second. How on earth do you Lakers fans manage to glaze Jake LaRavia? Like, this was before y'all got Ayton, but y'all glazed Jake LaRavia so hard like he was the second coming and he was going to boost y'all to the finals. Like, let's be real, dude. It's Jake LaRavia. Now, Ayton, I like Jake LaRavia as a backup option, and Ayton hopefully can help. I'm really excited to see the Luka Ayton dynamic, and I hope LeBron can help him stop being lazy. But overall, I think this team is really overhyped. They aren't deep at all. I mean, Gabe Vincent, when Bronny James is coming off your bench, you have a problem, which I think they're actually going to do this season. Who knows? Maybe Dalton Connect will step up. I think he will, actually. I like Dalton Connect. I'm not a huge Laker fan, but I like Dalton Connect. And then over, I've got the Warriors as well. It hurts my heart. If we trade for Vucevic and get like maybe a backup like defensive guard, we go like right here, maybe right here. Nah, probably not right here, but like right here with the Clippers. Like, wouldn't be surprised if we made the finals. But second round exit. Let's just be real. this team is not cutting it. Steph and Jimmy are really cool, and I think anything can happen with Steph and Jimmy. Jimmy took an 8 seed to the finals. Steph Curry is Steph Curry, greatest shooter of all time, greatest point guard of all time, 4th on my all-time list. Great player. It's just a matter of, I'd say the X factor for Golden State this year is Brandon Podziemski if he develops into a really good guard and consistent guard, because he showed some really good sparks of greatness, but his shooting was just so inconsistent. His playmaking so inconsistent. And then lastly, we've got Detroit. I'm actually gonna move this. I'm actually gonna swap these. I don't know why Detroit was over Golden State. Because they did lose they lost a couple of guys, but I think Cade Cunningham takes another step. Jalen Duren will get used to that dynamic. Unfortunately, Malik Beasley getting investigated. If he gets suspended, he's cooked. Detroit might be cooked. But they've got a good squad regardless. They picked up a few guys, lost a few guys. They'll be a decent team. Got some vets. Tobias Harris, good vet, but I think the Warriors are over them. And 76ers are weird because they can be either here or here. Sorry if I'm getting tired, guys. It's 12:30 at midnight. I'm ready to go to bed, but I'm doing this for y'all. I've got the 76ers. They could go either, depending. This is every season, though, for them. It's either here or here. Or here. Or here. But this year, I love their roster, I love the addition of VJ Edgecombe. Jared McCain's coming back from injury. You've got Tyrese Maxey running the 1. You've got Joel Embiid at the 5. You acquire, this team's going to be really good. I wonder. I don't know how they're going to play VJ Edgecombe, but I hope I want them to do something with him. Their weakness, I believe, is the power forward, but they've got depth. Philadelphia is good, but they're borderline second round exits. But Minnesota, nothing needs to be explained. You're bringing back all your guys. You lost Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but that's okay. I think Ant-Man takes another leap, which helps them and makes up for the Nickeil Alexander-Walker thing. Naz Reid will help out. That dynamic will work better. Julius Randle, if he doesn't disappear in the playoffs, this is where they go. You've got a guy. I love Dante DiVincenzo. Can't talk about the guy enough. Love Dante DiVincenzo. I don't remember if Mike Conley didn't retire. They're going to go back. But, yeah, they're a good team. A really good team. But I don't think they're below the Mavericks or Clippers. The Mavericks and Clippers both I have explained on my sleeper teams. Don't be surprised if any of those teams end up in the finals. The Magic, picking up all their guys once again. They're going to be really good. I'm just going to skip over to the Cavs because the Hawks I've covered as well. You look at Porzingis at the 5 replacing Clint Capella. You look at Reece Shea taking another step. You've got Nickeil Alexander-Walker off the bench. Karis LeVert. Trae Young going to take another step maybe. He's getting help finally. The Cavs. Picking up Lonzo is huge. You finally get a guard that can help out. That backcourt of Darius Garland and Lonzo Ball is going to be lethal. It's just a matter of, you lost Isaac Okoro, yes, but I think you can make up for that. Max Strus, I think, Max Strus, I'm not tripping, right? Is he out there? Yeah. Max Strus can definitely help out, take that burden off of, say, DG or Evan Mobley, You still got Jared Allen. I don't know how they're not trying to trade people for their salary cap, whatever, their second apron thing, because the Celtics blew up their team, and all the Cavs have done is let Ty Jerome walk and bring in Lonzo Ball. So I don't really know, but I think if they're not shopping Jared Allen, they just keep the roster as is. They're championship contenders. And the Knicks, they bring in Jordan Clarkson to come off the bench. You've got Mike Brown coming in to change up the rotations, maybe give everyone a better chance at playing and maybe resting the stars more, so that way they're more energized to go in a set, because that was their weakness against the Pacers. Is Thibodeau, however you say it, just played all the starters so much to where they got gassed against the fast pace of the Indiana Pacers. No pun intended. They were just so fast and in their face that the Knicks couldn't handle it because they didn't have a good bench. And ultimately, that's why they lost. But I think Mike Brown can help change that up. The Nuggets, as I said earlier, Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr., building shooters around them, Cam Johnson, just a good squad. Christian Brown going to probably take another step. But yeah, that's why the Nuggets, not the Knicks, the Nuggets are going to take that spot. And then the Rockets, of course, like I said earlier, Kevin Durant fixing everything for them. Amen Thompson probably takes another leap. Şengün probably takes another leap. You've got a guy like Fred VanVleet ready to help out. You've got Reed Shepherd, who might take another leap. They traded away Cam Whitmore, but still, you've got Tari Eason. He might take another leap. Like, this team has so much potential, but I have a gut feeling that it's going to disappoint, but I'm not going to go with my gut feeling, and on paper, they are a super contender. And, of course, the defending champs, OKC, bringing everyone back, blowing $822 million on their big three, which flabbergasted me, to be honest. I know, big word, but this OKC team is so deep. These extensions, they don't go in this year. They're still on the cap. They're still able to keep everybody. They've still got Lou Dort. They still got Alex Caruso. They still got Isaiah Hartenstein. They're running it back with Jalen Williams, the Arkansas Jalen Williams off the bench. It's just a really good team. And I hate to say that because I'm a big OKC hater. But you do what you do. Realistically, they're the favorites to win it all. Either them or Houston. I think they should be tied in odds on Vegas. But I'm not a big sports bettor myself. I don't really do the whole gambling thing. Not for me. But if I had to make the odds, I'd put these two dead even. But with that being said, folks, I think I'm going to call it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. And like always, I'm Luke Dunlap, clocking out on a high note. Peace. Take care.